Hi guys, I'm about to do a layout using the City of Lights kit from Studio Calico, and I thought I'd show you guys how I keep my kit on my desk. I actually don't put my kit into a package or a box or a bag like I used to when I got my Scarlet Lime kits. I like to keep mine right out on my desk, and I saw some other people doing that on their blogs and stuff. And I just thought that that was a really great idea, and so I did it for the month of March, and now I'm doing it for the month of April, and I love, love, love it. I actually used, not every single thing, but I used up my March kit enough that by the time my April kit came, I was ready to put everything back into my stash from the March kit. So I love the idea of not carrying forward kits from month to month. So what I do is I just keep it in, this is the lid of the Becky Higgins page protector box, and I just put the stamps. Like this month I got one add-on, so I've got 2 stamps here, and then I put all of the embellishments. I just kind of put them in a tray and spread them out so that I can see what I have, so I can use them more easily. And then I keep all of the paper, including the scraps that come from the paper as I use it, just in this box. And then anything that doesn't fit, any embellishments that don't fit in this tray, because it is a pretty small tray, I just put them in this thing. And so I've got like the Smash page protectors, which I'm actually giving away to somebody because I don't think I'm going to use those, and then some alphas and stuff like, and those stickers and stuff that won't fit anywhere else, so I just put those there. And then as I'm scrapping, like when I'm kind of doing my stuff over here, I just bring all this stuff over and leave them in their trays right there, so I can kind of grab what I want. So I'll usually put, this fits really well right here in between my tripod legs, and then I don't stamp a whole lot when I'm scrapping, but I like to leave that there. And then I might put this here or even right there. So that's sort of how I do it. And then I'll grab this and I'll put it right over here in front of my baby wipes. And so that's how I scrap. I just bring it all over there. But I like having it out on my desk because it's easy to use, and it's also easy. Sometimes I come down here when I'm not scrapping and I just kind of poke around and think about, I lay out some pictures and think about what I'm going to do next. So I like having my supplies right out like that. So that's what I do. Also, a few people were asking me about how I do my videos. I do have a video on my tripod setup. It's quite a bit further down in my channel, so you might need to do some looking for it, but this is the tripod that I use. I connect my camera's in my hand now, so I can't show you how it goes, but the video does a good job of showing it. So I just connect my camera right here pointing down, and this is a Manfrotto tripod, and it comes with this thing that goes up like that, and it also, you press a button and it flips down like that, and you can actually put it all the way down if you wanted to, like, have your camera right above something that's underneath of your, it's for doing like close-ups for nature and stuff, but I use it for scrapbooking. And then I have a big huge photography light from my husband's supply that I just kind of clamp up there. So he just installed that board that hangs from the ceiling, and then he can grab this light whenever he needs to use it for photography, but it lives here, so this is its home, and he just grabs it when he needs it. So that's what I do, and that light gives a lot of glare, and I'm still working on figuring out, I think I need to angle it a little bit differently so it doesn't glare so much, but anyways, it's working for now. So I'm gonna put you back on the tripod. Okay, so this is the sketch I'm going to be using today. It is a page map sketch, and it is the challenge of the month over at scrapbooksuppliesonline.com.au. And so I'm going to be using this sketch as my inspiration. I'm not going to be doing it exactly. I'm not going to do kind of like a little scene here with the tree and the owl. Instead, I'm going to make a cluster here and a cluster here. Just kind of my own take and interpretation of it. And these are the photos I'm going to be using. I have 3 photos. It calls for 4. And so I'm going to do like photo journaling is how I'm going to do it. And then I won't do journaling there. And I don't know if I'm going to put my title here, or I might kind of layer it right here above, kind of going over these 2 layers and beside where the owl cluster is. These are the photos that I'm using of my poor neglected kitty cats. My cats are so neglected since we had our kids, and even more so since we got our dog. Of course, they get lots of attention, but they don't get nearly as much as they did when they were the only ones around. And so I snapped a couple pictures of them this morning. They were snuggling on my bed. So I got these two pictures almost the same. And then I stood up above them and grabbed this shot that shows how they snuggle together. They almost always lay like this in the daytime. And this kitty, Maya, who you would have seen, you guys have met Maya before, she is terrified of my dog, so she doesn't ever go on the main floor. Our dog Charlie is a main floor dog. He doesn't go upstairs and he doesn't go downstairs. And so Maya, ever since we had the dog, the poor thing, she never gets to hang out with us anymore. So that's why she comes down in my scrap room when I'm here. She does a little Mission Impossible thing where she kind of like checks around the corner and goes really slowly and tiptoes. And then when she sees the coast is clear, she like boots it down the stairs and around the corner. And then we have a little cat door in our basement door to the downstairs, and so she goes through that hole and comes down and scrapbooks with me. So it's like she risks her life in order to come down here to be with me. So, and this one is Naomi. She's like, she doesn't care about the dog. She's like fearless and lovey-dovey and loves people way too much to let the dog keep her from being around us. So those are my kitties. I'm going to be scrapbooking them today. Poor little kitties haven't even been the subject of a layout in a really long time, so I'm going to rectify that today using this sketch. So come along with me for the journey. Okay guys, so this ended up being the layout of things that never ended up happening because I was originally going to go for a monochromatic scheme using that, I don't know what you want to call that color. It's kind of, it looks green to me. I've been told that sometimes I'm wrong with my greens and blues. I don't know if I'm colorblind, but I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, I was going to go with a monochromatic green and not have any other colors besides, I guess, a neutral like a cream or a brown or something. But I ended up adding yellow to that. I can never resist adding yellow. And then I was going to have it not be themey like the sketch was with the tree and the owl and not have like little cutesy things on it. And then I ended up putting a cute little cat on it. So I'm trying to pick out a bunch of greens that go together, and then that floral pattern just kept pulling me and it wanted to be on this layout. So that's where the yellow came from, besides the fact that I absolutely love yellow. So then I went off course a little bit and thought about doing a really bright colorful. There's no color at all in the pictures. They're just like grays and browns and creams and stuff. So the only color comes from the papers. So I was kind of gonna either go with monochromatic or bright colorful. Two opposites, but I was leaning towards monochromatic. Pulled out some book paper to use for the mat of the 2x2 grid. And I like to use a ruler to rip my paper, but I ripped each paper separately so that I'd have a slightly different edge on each of them, so that would show as a little bit of detail. And then I am distressing the edges on this, which I shouldn't have done because I was going to stamp it. And it's harder to stamp with a distressed edge. It doesn't kind of stamp off the page quite as nicely, so I should have stamped and then distressed. But I always decide things backwards, so that's just the way I am. And I wasn't very careful about lining up the stamp or anything because I'm going to cover most of it anyways, and obviously I ended up crinkling it just to make it look all the more kind of just, it just adds a bit more texture to it. And it's only sticking out a tiny bit. So again, I think I end up gluing those pictures on when I shouldn't have because I'm going to sew. But yeah, there I go, gluing them right on, which made it a little bit trickier to sew. I could sew it, but it was a little bit trickier. Then I put that little tag on with repositional tape. I just wanted to point that out to you guys. And I'm using my American Crafts Precision pens, which I just got this month. And I like them, except that I can never tell which one I'm pulling out of my little place where I keep my pens. So what I'm doing here is I'm going around 3 times. I'm going twice with a 0.5 pen and once with a 0.01 pen. It's a 0.05, not a 0.5. And that just gives a bit of interest. I don't know if anybody notices it but me, but I like the look. It kind of looks like one threaded, it almost looks like the thickness of a thread, and then the other two lines are more heavy. So here's where I do my sewing, and I didn't change the angle just because it's a little bit more work, and then I have to import a separate video, and it's just a little bit trickier. So I just went ahead and sewed it in from this angle. And yeah, so I'm sewing it onto the layout, which I didn't really need to do because I didn't actually, like, I could have just sewed it onto the mat and then made it look like it was sewn onto the layout because I didn't overlap it the way I had planned. I don't know what I was thinking here. Also, as soon as I sewed this on, I almost immediately regretted it because I had planned on sticking some other stuff behind there, and I always do that when I sew. You can't even barely see the threads, and I now can't put a piece of that under there. I have to put it under the photos. But so anyways, whatever, bygones. Um, at this point, I'm a little annoyed with myself, but I'm trying to just move forward. I don't know if you guys ever do that when you're scrapbooking, but I was just kind of like, why did I do that? So now I was gonna make those hearts red, and then I thought, wait a minute, I'm going monochromatic. I can't make them red. So I made them yellow. And I just well, you saw what I did. I just inked the vellum and put it behind. Now I cut that cat out. I actually cut two cats because I wasn't sure which one I would use with my silhouette. It was really fun, cute little cats. So I used my smooch inks, which I rarely use. I've had them for a long time and only use tiny bits of them every once in a while. So that one is Pool, I think, the blue one. And then I'm going to layer sorry, I'm off screen there. Yes, so I'm painting just a scrap in the white smooch. I forget what it's called, Whisper maybe. And then I'm going to put that behind it so that it's going to be the whites of their eyes, of her eyes, I guess. And then I just figured out where I needed to put the pink so that the nose wasn't white because you don't want the nose to be white. And so now I have this glowy white-eyed cat that's a little freaky looking, but once I put the blue eyes in, she hopefully looks a little less freaky looking. I really think that the pearlized nature of this ink didn't make it the greatest choice for this because the cat does look a little freaky with the glowy eyes. But, you know, I guess it's cute. Once I line it, then I went kind of crazy looking for the other eye. I could not find it anywheres, so I just grabbed one of the eyes from the second cat and it fit fine. So I had a little bit of trouble with this layout if you didn't notice. So now I'm just trying to sketch out. I'm waiting for the ink to dry on that eye, and I'm planning out my journaling, outlining that tag in a brown marker instead of black, just because I wanted it to have a bit of a more subtle look to it. And now that that vellum is dry, I'm going to put that on the back. This is a very subtle look. It doesn't change the look of it very much, but it just makes the book paper behind just a little bit more yellowy where the holes in the hearts are. And that's a quote from a book. It's called Ooh Snuggle. Well, it's in the book. It's called Ooh Snuggle, Puppy of Mine. Everything About You is Especially Fine. It's a book that we read here in our home. And Sandra Boynton, I think is how you pronounce the name of the author. She's got a whole bunch of really great children's books. So I just saw these cats and I thought, oh, they're Snuggle Kitties. So instead of Snuggle Puppy, I changed it to Snuggle Kitties. So those are just the lyrics from that book. It's sort of a poem that you say together. I outlined the cat. I always do outline my cuts. When I had a Cricut, I outlined almost everything I cut with my Cricut. I just think it gives it a nice finished look, and I prefer that over the layered look of having like the shadow cut on the Cricut. And I know some silhouette cuts also have shadows. I'd rather just outline. It's easier, and I like the look of it. So for the most part, I don't do a whole lot of that outline, the shadowing and layering. So there I'm going with my title, and I forgot for a second there that what I love about that The print on that paper there, which is actually not in the kit, all of this is from the Studio Calico kit, the City of Lights kit, but that middle paper with the, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a circle, but it's a bunch of lines that create a circle. It's like a starburst or a ray of sun type of, but it's graphical. Anyways, you guys know what I mean, right? um, I really like titles that go with the curve of that paper, so that's what I decided to do is curve. That's really the whole reason I picked out that paper, was to make my title curved, so I just forgot that for a second. Yeah, so there's my title, Snuggle Kitties. And then I thought about doing of mine because that's how the book goes. But then I thought, no, I didn't want to clutter it. And I say that down below in my journaling. It says, ooh, Snuggle Kitties of mine. Everything about you is especially fine. So I got that base covered in the journaling, so I didn't feel the need to do it in the title. And there I'm just kind of trying to make it look a little bit more curved. It was coming out more linear than I wanted it, like a little bit more straight, so I had to kind of fuss with it a little bit just to make the kitties. Those fonts are really hard to, because all the letters are different sizes and stuff. I chose the basic gray font for the word snuggle, because even though, well, I was going to do craft because really there's no gray on this layout, but there were two things. First, I thought that was a little bit predictable and boring, and then secondly, the gray, basic gray mini mono, whatever that alpha is called, it comes in the kit, really had a snuggly wool blanket type look to it. So I just thought the word snuggle being in that would be really great. And then when I pulled out my twine, it had a little knot in it, and I thought, oh, that adds a bit of interest. So I knotted just a bunch of knots down the line. You just saw me doing it, and used my twine knotted instead of just straight, and I thought that was just a little bit of interest. I was going to put one, and then I just kept going. I put three, and it kind of mirrors the look because I spread them out in like a fan, and it kind of looks like the paper that I was trying to describe but didn't do a good job of describing. The paper that the word snuggle is on. So it kind of mirrors that kind of spread out ray look. So now I just need to figure out where I'm going to put the cat. And I placed her right so that her neck is right in line with the mat of the photo, so that there's not an awkward space there. I didn't want a bit of the photo to be showing. So that's what I did there. And then it was missing. I mean, it was very, very plain as it was. And I wanted to pick up on the yellow that was on the tag and in the font. So I punched a bit of that floral paper that I absolutely love. And I made sure that I chose parts of it that had the yellow. And so I put that in there, and then of course I'm doing this so backwards. I have so much trouble putting this gray sticker from crepe paper. I have so much trouble putting this on. It isn't even funny. And if I just had have not sewn that thing on, it would have been so much easier. So anyways, there we go. I fussed with it and got it so that it was just peeking out a tiny little bit, and then I put one more of those crepe paper borders on. And now I'm going to cut another strip of that beautiful flower pattern. And this is what I do these days with my border punches, is I fold them and I staple them. And then I can kind of pull it back, and it looks kind of cool sticking out like that. Then I put that green piece on without really thinking, and then I was kind of not liking it there, but I ended up liking it in the end because I put another couple of things underneath and it looks okay. So yeah,
now I'm just using my Dear Lizzie date stamp, and I don't even know what paper that is that I stamped it on. It must be just a little scrap that was sitting on my table. And I made it into a flag, and I wanted it to be a wavy flag, so I put pop dots on either end of it, and then I ran a piece of glue in the middle, and that makes it kind of wobbly and wavy. So the middle part is stuck down, and then the two ends are popped up. Then I took a piece of that ribbon that I used on the tag. That was actually in my Studio Calico grab bag that I got this month. And then I'm going to, at the very last minute, pop a butterfly onto that piece of ribbon because it's kind of needs something on top of it. So I can't remember if I did that in the video or not. Oh yeah, there I go. Another yellow Studio Calico butterfly. I love those. Although I love to outline everything, they're just so pretty and delicate. I didn't want to outline them, so I left them plain. And now there's 3 of them, which is always kind of nice. So there we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.